Hello once again, and welcome back to yet another session at Lalan Science. Today we are going to do a topic which is a topic that creates a lot of debate. There are people holding diverse opinion on this topic, but in spite of the diversity of opinions, the problem remains. It has been such a long enduring problem that political views across the political spectrum have not been able to get rid of this problem fully. But we have to acknowledge the fact that right now, although there are certain disturbing news like the Kokernag tragedy that happened, but still, if you look at the big picture, things are improving on the ground. So potentially the strategy that is being followed right now by government of India uh, should or can yield a, a vision, or it can yield a scenario where we can actually see the result or actually uh, achieve the quest for peace. So the title has been rightly taken or rightly ascribed to this topic because it is an enduring quest. It is a quest for peace in a troubled land. And for your information, I would like to mention that this title is taken from a book written by former General NC Vij. He was a former defense personnel. Right now, he is associated with Vivekananda India Foundation, the policy think tank. And he has recently, in 2021, he wrote a book with this title, which is very apt for the topic at hand. So I choose this title as the topic or for the topic of Kashmir. So moving forward, but again, we have designed this topic into certain subparts where we, at the very outset, we will discuss about why the current the issue is in news in the current context or current scenario. Here we will be focusing on the Kokarnag incident. Then we will look into the background of the topic or background of Kashmir or background of this problem. There we will look into the history of it. Of course, we will have a bird's eye view because a detailed view is not possible in the scope of this course. Then we will look into the procedure of accession to India of Jammu, because as you might be aware, Jammu and Kashmir was one of the 565 princely states that were to be integrated either to India or to Pakistan. So out of those, Jammu and Kashmir was one of them, and it acceded to India through the instrument of accession. So we will look into that aspect. And then a major change happened on 5th August 2019. I am sure all of you know that we saw the abrogation of Article 35A, abrogation of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, which actually paved the way for complete integration of Jammu and Kashmir into India. Because what is the net end result? The net end result is that the whole Constitution of India will be applicable to Jammu and Kashmir without any exception. Right? So here we will further look into specific details of Article 370, how or what are the key features, what distinctions it brought in. And then we will look into certain aspects of the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, because as you might be aware, Jammu and Kashmir is the only state with a constitution of its own. It has a constitution, it has a flag of its own. It used to have. Right now, Indian Constitution is the preeminent document. Then Article 35A. So there we will look into the aspects relating to Article 35A. Then we will look into the broad strategies that that are involved in the issue. There we will look into, typically we have classified it into three A's. A's are actually acronyms for certain strategies. There will be three A, which you will become aware when we reach this topic. Namely, these are attrition, abdication, and assimilation. So when we will delve into this further, these things will be more clearer to you. And then we will look into the aspect that is the current strategy that the government of India is right now uh, undertaking. Is it working? We will look into all the aspects like security wise, how is it going? Development wise, economy wise, commerce wise, how is it going? Human development wise, how is it going? So we will look into those aspects and uh, look into whether that road will lead to the quest for peace. Then, of course, the challenges. Actually there can be varied challenges, but we can roughly club it into three heads. Political instability has been a problem. There are multiple political factions. Then separatism, although right now doesn't have a political front like the Hurriyat, but still there are trends of separatism within Kashmir, because it was actually a utopian idea, because uh, it was not possible for Jammu and Kashmir to stay as a separate entity from India and Pakistan. Either they had to go to Pakistan or had to stay in India. So separation was actually beyond you cannot have comprehended that, but still there are people with fascinations. So separatism has been a trend, and it motivates people to take up arms, against government of India. Then, of course, the main driving force of disturbance in Kashmir, that is the Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. So there we will look into those aspects, and then India, although Kashmir is a internal issue of India, but due to certain events in history, here we will refer to how India, after the aggression of Pakistan in 1947, India took the matter to UN and thus internationalized the issue. So it led to actually many problems. The world viewed Kashmir as a bilateral dispute between India and Pakistan, and from that emerged the greater role of Pakistan. And because Pakistan had a leverage because of its geography, so it used that leverage with the Western powers to take certain advantages, or where the West actually looked the other side when Pakistan was doing mischief in Kashmir. So there we will look into the asymmetric warfare. What do we mean by asymmetric warfare? Symmetric warfare means when the two forces are meeting head on, actually there is a war. But in case of disturbances, or in case of war that is happening in Kashmir, Pakistan has what is called as plausible deniability. What does it mean? It means that whenever any terrorist incident happens, although it is masterminded by ISI or some people of military establishment of Pakistan, but Pakistan can easily say that these are certain people, or those who are involved, they have nothing to do with them. They are non-state actors. So that way you are creating a asymmetric warfare. You can actually go to the world and say, no, we are not fighting India. There are certain factions within India who are doing it. That is how they can actually deny the fact that there is a war going on, but actually they are fighting it. So it is a asymmetric warfare in Kashmir that is happening between India and Pakistan. It's not a direct symmetric warfare. Then we will look into the various responses that India has made, including the very latest, a film was made on that, the Uri movie. So the surgical strike response, all those things also will be covered. But it has been a varied response. We have responded. There is one response which was very popular in the late 2010s. It was called strategic restraint, something like that. Although that was later criticized a lot, citing that it showed India's vulnerability or India's inability to act in a assertive manner. But still, there has been multiple trends of response based on the policy view that is dominant in the South Bloc, power center of India. And then we will look into the way forward, what is happening in Kashmir right now, or actually how the Modi government's strategy in Kashmir is bringing change in the ground, and what future prospects does it hold. Because be very mindful, Kashmir is not a simple internal affair of India. There are multiple stakeholders. Actually, we will delve into it once we start the topic. So, after giving this brief introduction, let us begin. Actually, let us begin by writing down, noting, and learning a couple of quotes related to Kashmir. There was this famous historian, actually. He is the first historian to write about the history of Kashmir, Kalhan. What is the name of his book? Raj Tarangini. So there, actually, literally it will translate into kings of rivers or something like that. It's a basically it is a chronology of kings of Kashmir. It was written in roughly 12th century, middle of 12th century AD. So there he remarked that Kashmir can be won only by force of spirit and not by force of sword. Similar sentiments was expressed by the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Nehru, when he said that Kashmir is like a supremely beautiful woman whose beauty is almost impersonal. You cannot personify, you cannot give a personality to it, and above human desires. What he actually means is that it is incomprehensible. It is so beautiful, or you can say, because it is so desirous, that is why multiple people or multiple interests are involved. Everybody wants to have a part. Okay. You should be aware when you are studying any area, the first thing that should come into your mind is the geography. So refer to the map immediately while studying any topic in news. Say, for example, you are studying something like Ukraine war. So immediately go to the map and study why, what is the geographical significance of that region that Russia is invading. Look into those ports in Black Sea, and you will understand Russia's strategic vision. I'm not saying to take a stand on who is right or wrong, but understand the geography to understand the vision or understand the strategy. So here, to understand the significance of Kashmir, first you need to have a very keen eye on the geography of Kashmir. So look at this map. This is the territorial map of Jammu and Kashmir as defined in Indian Constitution or as defined by India. Although in practical terms, we are only in control of the area in blue. This is the area we are in control. This area, I'm sure you must be aware what this line is called. This line is called line of LAC, line of actual control, and this line is called LOC, line of control. This is the de facto boundary between India and Pakistan here, and this is the de facto boundary between India and China. But although we should always assert, or at any official forum or at any formal platform, our idea of Kashmir is the whole area. Okay, so look at Kashmir. The geography is such that there is the northern part of India is in its south, then it has the vast plains of Punjab, Pakistan, Pakistani Punjab. On the west, on the east is the China. There is the Xinjiang province, and towards the north is the Central Asian plains and Central Asian highlands are there. So it is, you can say, a junction. It is a junction which gives you access to all the significant trade routes, all the significant areas around this world. So naturally, it will be a desirous location for all. And that is why it is such an intractable problem, such a long-going, enduring problem. And you will be surprised that the number of players involved in it are not merely the local Kashmiris or Jammu people or the Ladakhi people. In fact, we will look into those aspects now as we move further. So, analysis of the geography, what does it tell you? It tells you why Kashmir is such a location, or what actually made Jawaharlal Nehru, or what made Kalhan to make such a deep statement on Kashmir. Now, moving forward, Kashmir, as I have just now referred, is, you can say, it is the most intractable, means it is not solvable but not manageable, and it is the most multi-layered conflict that India is engaged in, that India has to face, that India has to overcome. So it is one of the most, if not the most, actually, according to many scholars, the red corridor problem. Do you know what is the red corridor problem? The red corridor problem is the Maoist problem, that is, you can say, the same. Its location is also at the center of India. That is the greatest internal security challenge, according to former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. But Kashmir has been something. Here, the advantage is that it is purely an internal affair of India, although there are vested foreign interests involved in it, but not to the extent that we see in Kashmir. You will be surprised that in Kashmir, if I have to draw a pie chart, all the people involved in this conflict, then of course Kashmiris will be there. Here I am not only referring to the Kashmiris. When I say Kashmiris, it means all the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So Jammu people are also, you can say, included in this periphery. Then Indian government is there, the government of India, Then, of course, Pakistan is there because internationally it is seen as a conflict between India and Pakistan. Whenever you ask any regular Westerner what is Kashmir problem, they will say it is a disputed territory, and that is the dominant narrative in the West. That Kashmir, when they are talking about Kashmir, although according to the strategic environment, these ideas will vacillate in West. They will keep meandering, but the standard idea is that it is a disputed area between India and Pakistan. So Kashmiris are involved, Indian government is involved, Pakistan is involved. Then it is not restricted to this. Many major powers in the world, like say USA. Earlier British were also involved, but right now that place has been taken by USA because USA still is the preeminent Western power, if not the global power, because China has challenged a lot now. A new Cold War is going on. All those dimensions we will cover in another day. But USA is the preeminent Western power that is beyond doubt. So USA, again, its stand on Kashmir has been quite uniform, although initially it supported India. Then again, it was ambivalent. It was ambiguous because of its because of the strategic role that Pakistan played in its foreign adventures in Afghanistan. So that way, US position regarding Kashmir has been vacillating to say the least. And if you have to uh, if you want to give a clear statement regarding US position, then you have to say that USA considers it as a disputed territory between India and Pakistan. USA doesn't consider Kashmir as an internal problem of India. That is the whole point. Then China, of course, as I showed you in the map, that area, this area of Kashmir, is totally under China after 62 war, Akchai Sin area. And this area, which was Gilgit-Baltistan, part of Gilgit-Baltistan area, that was part of Pak-occupied Kashmir, this we call as POK. This area was gifted, the Shaksgam Valley. This area was gifted by POK, Pakistan, to China. Why? Actually, through this area, we I hope you are familiar with something called BRI, Belt and Road Initiative of China, the huge infrastructure investment project that China has started, or that has been going on for the last 10 years since Xi Jinping has come into the picture. And here, this is the China-Pakistan economic corridor that goes in through actually the territory of India. And this is the reason why India has not signed the BRI. So China's interest in Kashmir is that they are using that area as a route for their infrastructural goals. So again, that is regarding the territorial sovereignty, territorial integrity of India. They have not dealt with India. So that is why we are opposed to BRI. We are opposing CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And that is how China is also linked with this issue, or they are one of the significant players in Kashmir. Then you will see countries like Iran, countries like Turkey making statements on Kashmir, countries like Saudi, although right now with the Middle East countries, significant countries of Middle East, with the exclusion of Turkey, we are having good relations. Actually, UAE, Saudi, these are part of what is known in common parlance as the Western Quad. So that way, relation with these countries are no doubt good. But I'm sure you have heard something called Ummah. Ummah is in Persian or in Islamic parlance, it is the common brotherhood or Islamic uh, union, Islamic community, the common community idea or common single territorial, single sovereignty idea of Islam or Islamic countries. So in that conception, there has been effort from Pakistan to make Kashmir as a problem for the Islamic world. And so we have seen certain untoward statements from leaders such as leader of Malaysia, leader of Indonesia, making certain statements. And then many Islamic countries has also made certain statements. So what does it show? It shows that Kashmir is not merely, it's not merely a local or internal problem. There are multiple players involved in it. So you can say it is not just a battle for land. It is not just a battle for resources. Not just a battle for land. Not just a battle for resources. Actually, it has a philosophical undercurrent to it. The whole idea of India is what? India as a multicultural, as a cosmopolitan country, as a multicultural country, as a country which can give shelter to people of different faiths, different beliefs, different cultures. And the idea of Pakistan is what? One religion, one country. So at philosophical level, there is, or you can say at metaphysical level, there is this conflict that is played out in ground in Kashmir, the idea of India and the idea of Pakistan, the idea of radicalism versus idea of secularism, all these complexities are involved. So it makes the problem intractable, as I said, and it makes the problem very, very complex. So why are we discussing all these complexities? We are discussing these complexities to appreciate the fact that solution will not be easy. So solution has to be multi-pronged. Solution, actually, it is impossible to find a solution which will satisfy all the stakeholders. There will be people or there will be stakeholders who will be disappointed. So here, because of such a complex nature of the conflict, according to experts, it is rather than talking about conflict resolution, we should focus more on conflict management. This is more practical according to experts, and our focus should be that the situation doesn't deteriorate further, and economic and human cost. There is an economic cost to the conflict. Economic cost and human cost should remain within acceptable, or obviously we want zero damage, but it should not go beyond a threshold. That is how we want to manage it. Because why we are talking here about in these lines, to appreciate the fact that it's a very complex issue, and that's why a solution will be gradual. Even if we desire complete peace in Kashmir, because of the whole complexity involved in it, we know that it will not be possible in a day. Yeah. But still, taking solid steps, taking concrete steps will surely help us in progress. And that is how we look at the problem from a bird's eye view. Now, going to the specifics of things. What happened in the second week of September was the unfortunate incident at Kokarnag. Now, what is Kokarnag? Where is it located? You will need the map. So this is the reason where bordering LOC, bordering POK. So here you have the Pir Panjal range. Pir Panjal range is a big chain of mountains, very beautiful topography. It starts from the, I think this is the Kishan Ganga river, which is called as Neelam in Pakistan. So from there it goes towards Himachal. Pir Panjal range goes towards Himachal, and from there the Bias river also rises. So it's a big chain of mountains, not insurmountable. There are very beautiful valleys in this region. Actually, it is very unfortunate that it is such a big conflict zone. Otherwise, we would have attracted tourists, in fact, possibly more than what you have in Alps in Switzerland. Because these are really very beautiful, vast expanse of land. If you have seen that movie Bajrangi Bhaijaan, certain shots were filmed in such locations. So you can you can check in Google. So what happened here? Look at these areas. These are very hot areas. There has been these areas are in news, and just appreciate the geography of this location. Uri, we had this incident. We had incident in Uri. We had incident in Pooch and Pulwama. Of course, we know that unfortunate incident. Now Kokernag is here. What happens is that you can create trouble here, and then these are very dense forest. It provides cover. Then beyond that, there is Pakistan, which always provides cover. So it is the ideal staging ground. But there has been, relatively speaking, lesser number of incidents. Although 2023, if we see, there has been certain incidents on security personnel. In fact, I will share with you certain facts. Like on January 1, at the beginning of this year, in this area, we saw this is near Rajouri. Okay, so 4 civilians were killed. Similarly, on April 20, again across just near LOC and near the Pir Panjal range, 5 personnel of Rashtriya Rifles were killed. Then May 5 again. So such incidents has been happening. Then August 4, targeting of security personnel in this area only. And then September 13, when in fact the colonel, we Indian Army lost 2 officers, 1 colonel and 1 major, and then Jammu and Kashmir Police also lost 1 DSP. So another security person, actually total number of casualties were 4. 1 sepoy was also killed in this action. Later, although the encounter ended with killing of one of the suspected killers, but still it was a severe damage or severe loss for India. Severe loss because a person of such high rank dying under such circumstances actually very tragic. So now it should be clear to you that although right now Kokernag is in news, but there has been incidents this year. You should be aware. So see the picture. Although we can say that there has been, as I have pointed out, there are incidents of violence, but picture is not that alarming. Actually, since 2019, the level of violence has come down. If you check the Ministry of Home Affairs data on the lives lost of security personnel, lives lost of civilians, that data will be actually very encouraging. It has come down quite a lot. But actually, the worrying fact is that although right now you must be aware, we have a ceasefire with Pakistan. Okay, we have a ceasefire with Pakistan, so that's a good thing. That keeps the scope for peace to return to the well. But the worrying thing is that such declines, such you can say up and down, such crest and troughs in insurgency is a part of the natural cycle of insurgency. Even in Northeast also we have seen such events. So right now, although it is down, but there is potential to go up. Actually, in the last period of such decline was in 2011 to 2014 period. Again, there was ceasefire, then there was decline, but then we saw something like Pathankot, we saw Uri, we saw Gurdaspur, we saw Pulwama, to top it all. Then there was the decline. So you cannot say that insurgency has declined for sure. So there are uh, foreign policy hawks, there are security hawks, intelligence hawks who are actually very cautious at this moment, because right now what we are seeing is uh, there is a new trend of militancy that has emerged in Jammu and Kashmir. You must be aware there was a terrorist called Burhan Wani. Their modus operandi was that they used to be kind of a poster boy. Okay, everybody used to know them, and they were trying to create a public image for themselves. But right now, what is happening is what is termed by security forces as hybrid terrorists. Huh. They will be undercover, they will be hybrid. You will not be able to identify. In fact, you will be very surprised. I don't know if you are surprised or not, but the main accused or main personal militant who has been shot down in this recent Kukarnag encounter, that terrorist, actually, the police, Jammu and Kashmir police does a listing on the terrorist. They have this rating for of A+ for the most dreaded terrorist. Then there will be something called A, then B+, then something called B, which is actually B is something like he is a terrorist, but his potential to cause such damage on his own is limited. And you will be surprised, the person, the chief accused right now, he is not part of A+, he was part of B. So this is the problem in Jammu and Kashmir right now. We are having something called hybrid terrorist, and it is very difficult to know who is a terrorist, who is not a terrorist. So that is creating certain challenges for security personnel. For, so having said that, now uh, certain you can say counterinsurgency operation that we are doing whenever we face certain inputs from intelligence that some terrorist is hiding there. There is a general tendency that the general, you can say, idea that people have is that why don't we put more boots on the ground? Means why don't we put more number of personnel on the ground? But in this day and age, in this age when technology is at the forefront of warfare, be it any sort of warfare, technology driven warfare is happening. So according to military experts, putting more boots on the ground actually, you can say, reduces your tactical ability to act in a very strategic or tactical manner. Your ability to act in a tactical manner reduces because of your unwieldiness, or because if you are putting more people. And secondly, you create more targets for terrorists or for your opponents. They get more targets as enemies. Now, that is why, according to experts, to be effective, small teams, more focused teams, it should be more intelligence driven. Then it will actually, what it will do, it will be, as I have rightly or just now pointed out, it will reduce the targets for the opponents, and then it will actually reduce trouble for the local population, because there the potential for conflict with the local population reduces, and it gives you the scope to act in a very tactical manner. So that is why small teams, very highly trained small teams are more effective in such operation. So if you are asked in interview, uh, we are facing such a scenario, why don't we go all guns blazing with all helicopters? Now here you should appreciate the fact that geography limits your choices. That area, even if good intelligence is the, you can say, the foundation of good warfare, because drones technologies also has limitation. If they're hiding in caves, then how will your drone go and track them? And when an enemy sees a drone, that gives a signal to them that your opponent is there waiting for you. So in that way, there is limitation of use of drones. So actually, good local level intelligence, good relation with the local people, good, you can say, creating goodwill among the local people will actually be a more significant deterrent for terrorism than merely going for all guns blazing approach in such a scenario. So, but still we have to take casualty, because in such a situation, always the terrorists has an advantage of the terrain, and they are, because we are responding to them. So that creates certain tactical reasons. So all those things are very operations like, so those will not come or from the exams perspective, but you should have that basic idea that why more boots on the ground is not the answer actually. Technology, obviously, it has to be there, number one. Secondly, good intelligence. Thirdly, well-trained troops in tactical warfare so that they can act in a very sharp manner. And obviously, good relation with the local people so that they can actually provide you with good human intelligence. Actually, in that movie, Shersa, if you have seen that movie, there you see the hero talking in or have establishing good relation with the local people. That is actually what happens. The army officers or people uh, in like, of any rank, if they are having good relation with the local people, then that can actually save their life more than their bullets. So what I am trying to assert, or what I am trying to bring you in, is the foundational principle of success. If you have to say that what is the foundational principle of success in counter-insurgency, actually, then simple way is people. The answer is people. Because popular support is the fuel for insurgency. Once popular support diminishes, insurgency will naturally die its death. But although, yeah, in Kashmir it is complicated because it is fueled not merely by popular support, but also by external support. So that complicates the scenario. But popular support, you can actually, through your efforts, through India's effort, we can actually bring it to the favor of, or we can bring it to the favor of India. So that is how we can, or that is one significant element of this counter-insurgency operation that we should keep in mind. And remember, this area where Pir Panjab we are talking about, the prominent tribal group is, or prominent local is, the Gujjar Bakriwals. Gujjars and the Bakriwals. These people are very nomadic people. They shift their bases every now and then, and that's why it becomes difficult. But there has been efforts by India. Actually, these people, many of them are actually very pro-India. In fact, there are village defense communities established there, with village defense forces established there. In fact, there is one all-women defense village defense force is also was established a few years back in that region. So, and if you see the response of people on the Kokarnak incident, there has been candlelight marches. You might have seen across news channels or across media portals. There has been local protest on the Kokarnak tragedy. So it shows that what people are liking what is happening right now, all the development activities on the ground that is happening, that is creating opportunity for local people. Tourism, if you see, there has been record number of tourists this year in Jammu and Kashmir. So for their development, they will want to have a vibrant economy, peaceful environment. So for them, conflict is obviously not beneficial, but there will be certain black ships, there will be certain, you can say, conflict entrepreneurs. In news, it caught the attention. There are certain conflict entrepreneurs who benefit from conflict. So such people will always be there. Your duty as a security personnel or as a person from Government of India will be to take them out, handle them properly, and all those people, look, majority of the people will not be such. They will have nothing to gain from such conflicts. They will have everything to lose. So you bring them to your favor and actually devise your strategic hatred. So that is how such incidents actually can be, in the long run, you can, that is the only way forward. Okay. So that is a brief background, or sorry, not a background, but what has happened recently and how things are moving on ground. So in the next class, we will look into the background of the issue.